Alright, so this is problem 5. That's what I'm choosing to do for this assignment because I didn't get full credit last time, but I really think I owned the problem this time, so pretty proud of it. Anyways, here's the setup. That's our generator right over here. Here's the time graph. We don't really need it for the problem, but there it is. Here it says circuit diagram. See three-phase rectifier right there. Assume ideal diodes, resistor, that one over there, 10 ohms. I wrote it in, helps me out. Alright, so on with the problem. The next page over here has, all the voltages and whatnot on it. And the diode 1 and diode 5 you can see are closed. These diodes are the ones that are active right now. The rest of them over here are not carrying any current or voltage through them, so I guess so they're the open. I redrew the circuit real quick to do some calculations. 120 volts. Here's diode 1, it's this guy here. Diode 5, this guy over here. Here's the quick KVL I did. V0 should be 120 volts in this situation. You can follow this loop, negative 120. Easier this loop, negative 120. You see right there. And then the Ohm's law for it, it's 12 amps, in case you were wondering. That's really important for the KCL that we'll see later on. So, okay. On to the descriptions. Now, here's my work. I'll walk you through each diode step by step. So, we have diode 1 over here, which I found was on. The conditions for it being on are the current needs to be greater than 0 amps, and the voltage needs to be 0 amps. We know it's going to be 0 amps because that's, 0 volts, because that's the, it's a short. There's 0 voltage across the short. Actually, that's diode 2. Pay no attention to that right now. So here's our KCL, which we'll go back over here to show you, which says that ID1 minus the current through the resistor should equal 0. So we see that here. ID1 equals IR. And what did we say IR was? 12 amps right there. So that one checks out quite nicely. Now, diode 2, you can see the picture I've drawn here should be off. So if we follow this KVL loop right here, you will see that negative 120 volts minus that one, see it goes through the negative end, equals 0. Negative 120 equals V0, that's less than 0, that checks out, that's off. Diode 3, same deal over here. Didn't draw the resistors and whatnot because it's not really relevant for this. You got negative 120 flowing through negative V0 and negative 60 right there. Here's the KVL for that. Negative 180 volts. I know this is a little dry, but it gets good at the end. Promise. Just trust me. So diode 4, this is another one that's supposed to be off. You can use either this loop or this loop. I use this loop in this problem. So we can see 120 volts plus V0, negative 120 volts. That one also checks out. It's a negative number. All these off ones, we want the voltage to be less than 0, in case that wasn't already apparent. This one, diode 5, should be on. So this one's a KCL. We have IR minus ID equals 0, ID equals IR equals 12 amps again, because that 12 amps was again this 12 amps right over here. So now, this last one gave me a little bit of trouble, because this one, the resistor is important if you want your math to work out correctly. So it took me a while to figure that out, but I got it now. So if you see here, negative 120 volts, positive 120 volts, comes back in on the positive end here, and this is negative 60, negative 60. That comes from this guy right over here, because if you trace this out, 120, here's diode 6, goes back here to the negative 120, negative 60. That negative 60 wasn't quite important over here because either way you either get negative 180 volts or negative 60 volts. But here it's important. So you can see my loop. There's the KVL. We get negative 60 volts. And that's the problem. Now, the final question was, does it equal 120 volts? Yes, it does, because everything checked out. Here's the laws we used. Didn't really need to use Ohm's law. I guess we did for the 12 amps. Now here is the cool part. This is a boat drawing I made of all of us partying after Austin and I get our laser base patented. That's me. Here are the boat babes. This is Austin, and that's you with the sunglasses. I got a helicopter. I didn't draw you with the babes because you have kids, and I assume that you might be married, but if not, there's plenty more on the boat, so don't worry about that. And that's 6 minutes and a little bit more, so I'll see you in class.